Hey guys, this is Golden and welcome back to the next episode of Let's Play Xenosaga Episode 2, Jenseits von Gut and Böse. I eventually got that title out of my mouth, in the in the German tongue. Now, I should really fill you in on what happened previously, because it's been a while this LP. Basically, we started off on Milsha, Old Milsha, 14 years ago, during the descent operation, the third descent, which was to rescue two children, or to rescue the designer children. Now we saw part of that, but then we got catapulted forward into the future at a certain point in the narrative, and now we're starting off where we left off on Xenosaga 1, which was just after we've escaped the for goodness sake, Proto Macabre. We have now landed, and we are now trying to progress, but the soldiers are still after us, even though we kind of dealt with Albedo. I say kind of, we didn't really deal with Albedo. Albedo ran away while pretty much destroyed the entire Proto Macabre. And then, just as it would have it, the engines, the logical drive couldn't change its angle, so you were so much screwed. And then Cosmos blew herself up and survived. So, yeah. While we're around here, basically, we're in two main parties. The party at the moment with Momo, Ziggy, Junior, and Chaos, and then Cosmos, Shion, and Alan are off at Vector, which we'll hear either the end of this episode or the beginning of next episode, which I'll warn you, the next episode is entirely cutscenes. Now, I'm not really going to tell you too much about battle tactics here, because it's pretty self-explanatory what I'm doing, and I will go through when I see fit. But at the moment, these enemy encounters are ridiculously easy. You shouldn't really have a problem with them. Just go for the weak points, which I've advertised using the cleverly designed things, which I've still got to design before I render this episode. Damn, there's always something. This is what's been holding this episode back, is I've recorded several voiceovers, and then I couldn't be asked doing that one. Doing the little the enemy bio boxes. Okay, so one thing I should quickly let you know is that the characters who sit in reserve, their EP will regenerate upon walking around, which means it's best to use their EP first, because it'll regenerate, whereas everyone else's, you're using them in battle, not so much. So that's something that you can keep with, and then you can also swap people in and out. You may want to be good with EP and all that lot. Now, I've already explained to you about how the whole level system works once before, but one thing I'll say to you now is while you can buy, basically, when you buy one class, the next class becomes available. Sorry, when you buy into one level and finish a class in one level, the next level becomes available. But if you buy into a class, because buying into a class costs class points, and yet there aren't all the skills there, or you don't have enough to finish off the skill points, and you run out of class points, you can kind of get yourself stuck. So there are things which boost your class points. You only get class points from bosses. So just kind of be sparing, and use guides and stuff to look ahead and find out when you can get these items, because they are really handy. We are coming across, I think, first few items we should concentrate on getting before we finish this narrative of the story, which I've got to make sure I look over actually, because you'll need it for one of the bosses to get something. It goes on and on. So just be careful how you use the levels of classes system, because you don't want to get yourself stuck with loads of SP but no CP to open up another class to spend it on, because that can really keep a character in the muck. I mean, you do get, like you had spear switching, great, increase your T points and all that lot in the last game. You get those for C points, but they are few and far between, and it's best not to waste them currently. Now, the ones with question marks are usually filled out with either you get given them in side quests, you win them off a boss by stealing it from them, which requires you to have the stealing skill first. And there's another way you get them. Yes, behind segment address doors. Now, the last thing I should probably mention about those is that I can't remember what the last thing I was going to mention about them. Oh yeah, there's 3 different types. I'm pretty sure I've been through this before, but let's go through it again. There's ones that are automatically equipped, ones that you can equip for give you specific stat bonuses. Kind of the armor of this game, because this game doesn't have armor. Well, it does, but it's really quite deep in the coding. A lot of people, when they were taking part of this game, found out there was a shop system, and there was a whole armor system, a load of things that they just took out at the last moment. Mainly because this game, they had a lot of the budget was severely slashed, and I think it was quite near the end of the development process, or it was, I don't know when exactly it was, but it really scuppered the quality of this game, and everyone agrees that this game, while it's enjoyable, certainly is the weakest of the trilogy. Yeah. And there was another thing, wasn't there? Yes, there was. And there was also an etherism. So, okay. Now this fight. This is why Ziggy is kind of useless. And why Chaos is kind of useless. Now, Ziggy and Chaos have the ability to knock an enemy down. Now, because they can knock an enemy down, what that means is they also can't hit enemies that are in the air. So if you're, basically, if there's a bunch of enemies which are flying, Ziggy is useless. The only thing he can actually do is use ether, and Ziggy's ether is notoriously low. And because his main attack is fire and physical, sometimes that can be a bit of a hindrance, because with a lot of enemies here, is they're really, really weak to one particular element, but the other elements they're so defensive against, you'll be like, why am I not dealing anywhere near enough damage? So it's best to take in characters like Momo and like Junior, who have a blank ether slate. I mean, technically Momo has Momo's attack are, well, basically their attacks are physical and ether, and then they're all divided into the categories of fire, blah blah blah, you know, all the different elements. And both Junior, Cosmos, I think, I'm not sure, Junior, Momo, Cosmos, and I think Jin, I honestly cannot remember, do not have a specific element attached to their attack. Now, there are attacks in this game called Fire Sword and all that jazz, which can give you elements, and they're really handy for big boss fights, and they're something you want your mage / character who could be useless when there's dealing with an enemy in the air, like now. You want to invest on that. They're called Flame Sword, blah blah sword, Beam Sword, that kind of stuff, and you put it on the character, and it lasts for about 3-4 turns, I think. Now, the one thing to go on about here in this particular battle is you see Ziggy is completely useless. Now, with the other characters, Momo can't knock an enemy in the air because she's a projectile character, the same as Xion. However, you may notice that Junior can, and he can knock characters in the air. He can also attack characters in the air, which basically means you want to set it up so that you either down or flip an enemy in the sky, and then you just wail on them with Momo. Like, Momo is easily one of the best characters in this game because you just wail on them with her attack, because her attack isn't based on attack. Her attack is actually based on her ether skill, which is ridiculously high because she's the mage of the team, whereas Ziggy's attack strength is pretty good, but Ziggy's strength is not quite as good as Momo's magic. So you end up this, I don't know, Momo is always a must-have in the team, and the rest of them, you know, it depends heavily on what you want to take with you. Now, this is rambling from off the top of my memory, so if any of my facts are wrong, please correct me, because I really don't want to be sat here rambling too much shit, less than half the way into one of these long episodes. But, yeah. So, what to talk about now? We've discussed in depth about why Ziggy... I'm not going to be carrying Ziggy or Chaos around with me much, and why I'm going to... What? Oh, that was an old one. I thought there was Jin actually was in my team. Now, this was using an old memory card, and this was actually recording on the PS2. I'm not sure whether to take this series, like, record it on my computer, or just record it from the Hapage. And the reasons are for keeping it on the device is that I don't have to worry about humongous file sizes, because of course fraps, or, you know, you want to render it in some form of uncompressed format and then compress. I don't know. It's just... series are based on the computer are a bit of a hassle, but also, if you notice, there are several parts of this game that like kind of jutter and lag, and by playing on the computer, I'd remove that. It'd also be slightly sharper, but then YouTube would butcher that anyway. So I'm not too sure what to do with that one. Obviously, I get save states on the computer version, and that would be interesting. But of course, commentary becomes easily desynced if it's not running at full speed, and because it does run a little over and a little below, you do end up with a little commentary desync no matter what you do. So yeah, okay. So we start off by really what the best strategy to do here is get everyone ready, then either down or sky an assault when you've got full boost. Keep boost the next character before you make your go, so you know that your go is going to connect and their go is going to follow afterwards, and just wail on them. Like, it's surprisingly fun. Of course, you need to stock first. That's how I said, stock. I forgot about that one. But yeah, the battle system, I love how it is entirely different. Like, there's so much more emphasis on stocking and boosting afterwards. So in the last game, breaking the opponent. Where in the last game there wasn't so much an emphasis on breaking, more elemental weakness, and there was one other thing. It was more boosting. I forget how I ended up playing that game because I learned a few new techniques after playing that. But definitely, this is a nice combat system to get into, and it's a shame that it was relegated to such a game because Xenosaga 3 completely changes everything up. It completely does. Oh, by the way, I do intend to do that after this. Not sure when. I mean, Xenosaga 3 is my favourite of the games, and yeah, I thought my commentary wasn't recording. I was like, no, it's fine, absolutely good. See, I'm literally sat here with the Xenosaga 2 manual guide open and the not Twilight Princess. Do I have the Twilight Princess guide? I do indeed. Do I? Yeah, I do. No, I can't see it. No, I think it's there. Yes, it is. And the Skyward Sword guide, because I like to have a wide. I like to kind of look through what I'm doing next, because I don't have time to do like pre-runs through a lot of the games, and it's sadly, there's not much I can do about that. But yeah, I do like to kind of, you know, look through. I like kind of the way, I like a lot of the way they're designed, and there's a lot of the like artwork they've got in them is quite nice. And you know, I know they can buy them in there, but it's supporting them in real. Like with the Xenosaga franchise, the only thing I bought is a Cosmos figurine, and that's the only thing which I may be tiny % sure that it goes to. Like, I obviously bought the games, but they're second hand, and none of that goes to the publisher. I mean, I would love to support the series, but the only way I found doing that is by buying merch at the moment, and that's a bit difficult to find. And especially if you buy it on eBay, because then none of it really. Oh, I guess technically it kind of does because someone bought them originally, but you know, it's just one of the games that I felt, you know, I really do want to pay something, because I've done that with most of my, like Zelda, I always fork out the full money for. Anyway, we'll get a short cutscene now, so I'll just be quiet for this scene.
Long time no see. You're looking well. You remember me, right? My name is Richard. Let that name burn in your mind as you die.
Right, well this annoying couple is Richard and Herman. Now, they are the religious nutters of this game, let's put it this way. Whereas the other characters, which are quite high up in the religion and have some faith in the religion, are, you know, sane and their choices are made clear. Sadly, these two just seem very much the militant, I can't say only militant atheists, the fundamental, you know, religious people here, which means they're going to be crazy and they're going to do everything in the name of whatever god I can't remember.
Turn the 100 series.
Yeah, well, they're going to do everything that Margulis tells them to do. So, I'm pretty sure the characters get much more fleshed out in Xenosaga 1 and 2 for the DS, as a lot of, like, they changed a lot of Shion's characteristics as well to make her more fit in with the verbal ripping in she gets in Xenosaga 3 from one of the main characters, I'm not going to say who yet. One of my favourite scenes, though. Because otherwise, a lot of what he says, you'd be like, no, I haven't noticed this. But Xenosaga 1 and 2, like, add it to that. Okay, so let's talk about the boss fight then. It's basically they're piloting two ESs, but the game hasn't called them an ES yet. It's called Pilum and Scutum, which nearly always looks like Scrotum, which is brilliant for a boss fight to be called Scrotum. So basically, what you're doing is you want to take out the tall, lean one first. And I don't think you can down this. What? I am way too far into this guide. Yeah, you do fight them again then, by the looks of it. I just spoiled that one for you. Yep, Pilum and Scutum, they're the same guys. Yep.
Don't be rash.
He's very creepy in there. They receive no characterization in this game. It's true. The game kind of expects you to know who they are, and sadly you don't. But they spend most of the time taunting. As long as you keep your characters fairly well healed, which is pretty easy, especially if you do double medica or stuff like that. You just want to stock and then lay down the law. That phrase doesn't sound good ever since I watched what's it called?
Don't worry about me.
Oh, is he dead already? You know he's not. Ever since I watched High School video game VGHS, Video Game High School, I think it's called. Yes, it is. Just because the lore is obnoxious.
It's
well, so
pointless to
far,
resist.
I don't know quite what's going to happen with that one. I surprisingly got into that. I don't not usually one for web series, but that one I got into. Anyway, I guess it's made more as a movie and then they split it into a web series. I don't know. I can't remember. So yeah, basically the tried and tested formula for this is stock. You want to take out the other one because he mainly attacks. He mainly attacks like everyone, and that's kind of attack you want to get rid of, especially with Momo around about there. So just deal with him, get that guy out of the way, just remove him from existence, and we'll be fine. And then Herman will get a bit edgy, and he'll be fine. Let's see. There's not really much to it. Just boost stock, keep your characters full, try and finish on the event stock. Try not the event stock. The 2 times, 4 times, or 10 times bonus, because that's always good for all the points you get. But also, I think the main issue is just if you're going to do an all-out assault, try and time it so the person who deals the most amount of damage is going to get on the critical as well, because then you can really start raking in the absolute values of it's crazy. So yeah, what's going on here? I've been too busy looking at the book to be honest. What's going on the screen? But as you can see, Momo is dealing quite a lot of damage. I mean, she can deal what 1,000 a go, and since Pilum has what 3,360 and Scuttum has 4,800, you can be through them quite quickly with everyone else as well. But sadly, Ziggy's fire you see what I mean? He just isn't dealing as much damage, and there are very rarely situations where Momo does deal less damage. I mean, once again, you can see here, even Junior is doing more damage, but then again, he is on the critical slide, so we couldn't. 528 damage. All I need to say is that's impressive. I mean, again, Junior and Momo are just really good in this game. Like, the team I'm probably going to stick with is Junior, Momo, and Chaos, and Cosmos. Mainly because Cosmos is another tank. I mean, there's not much I can say about that. But yeah, it's interesting. And I got shot in the face. Yeah, the dodging in this game is a bit bad, as in you dodge, and some of the attacks take a few seconds before they actually explode, so you'll be stood exactly where you were, but you dodge the initial bit. But some of them are made better so they don't actually explode later on, they just hit and miss. But yeah, we're just trying to turn Ziggy into a bit more of an attacker, just to get some more attack. But yeah, he's just gonna, smash us across the head with a 20-foot pole. Is it even? Don't know how big that is. It's big. It's heavy. It didn't do that much damage. Oh my goodness. So yeah, we're very nearing the ending of this episode. So I think prematurely, what I'll say is the next episode there's going to be maybe a minute of commentary, about 15 minutes of cutscenes. So what I'm probably going to do is I'll just upload it without any sort of introduction, and the commentary will be at the end. That way I can at least say, it's sort of commentary based. So yeah, how close are we to defeating this guy? Yeah, I know. Nullify! No. They tried to make... Momo's kind of... I say, the voice changed in this particular episode. I was going to say cute, actually. When I first played this game, I was significantly younger. And I was like, she's... Wait a second, she's way too... Oh, the Japanese. But yeah. Okay, so now he's got Thunder Ether, which means he's going to attack you with Thunder, I think. I don't know. He might protect against Thunder. It doesn't really matter. You've not got that many elements at the moment to make the difference.
Armor field.
Yay, Armor Field. Don't we all love Armor Field? Whatever that is. This looks very similar to Protect from Final Fantasy, actually. It looks almost identical in terms of the animation there, or at least one of the games. He's just not going to be able to make up his mind on which element he wants to infuse. No, he's going to cast a Stasis Infliction on someone. Stasis Infliction in this game aren't fun, but at this stage, with the amount of health he's got left, what, 1,000? Yeah, Momo can pretty much take it. So we'll start again on that. 140 damage. 330. 344. Yeah, we're done. Skill point ×2 as well. Nicely done, Momo. Anyway, guys, we'll see you in the next episode. Take care. Bye-bye.